Good morning, YouTube. Warbles on a lot here. Those of you who are familiar with my channel will be aware that I run my hut on a pyramid full of second-hand batteries, which last for a variable amount of time in service in their second life as house lighting batteries. These 6-volt batteries have done their time in a golf cart. Golf carts use 8 of them. And because it's a bad idea to replace some of a bank of batteries in which a few have died, they replace golf cart batteries in a job lot. They replace all 8 of them, even though 2 of the 6-volt batteries will be completely flogged out. 2 of them will be not in particularly good condition, but they're not dead yet either. And 4 of them will have sufficient life remaining that in a low stress occupation like a stationary battery, being slowly solar charged rather than thump charged with grid power, and then slowly discharged to run the lights and radio in a palatial mansion over there on the corner of the clearing, I can get 2 to 4 years out of a set of 4 ex-golf cart batteries. These ones came out of service 4 months ago, roughly. These ones went into service 4 months ago, roughly. These are the 4 that were in good condition, and these are the ones that I've been trying to get them into such a good condition that they're worth putting into the pyramid. Space exists in there for them to join the companions, so to speak. This set of 4 225 amp hour deep cycle cells is capable of running the hut after a full day's charge, putting out probably 18 to 25 amp hours during the night's use, depending on how late I stay up and how much radio I listen to and how many lights I've got on for how long. And the following morning I'll still be showing 12.6 volts. However, those ones over there, most of the time they're at less than 12.6 volts in the morning after having done nothing more strenuous than sit there overnight. So what I have been doing, apart from monitoring them, I've been paying attention to their resting voltage in the morning, and when it gets down to 12.5 volts, I've been using the spare inverter to put a load on them, maybe take 20 amp hours out of them before recharging them, which with a couple of 10-watt panels takes a couple of days. In fact, on this particular run, I've found that I can observe as high as 12.69 volts in the morning, and I almost put these batteries into the pyramid, but I decided it might be interesting to just observe and see what actually happened. And you know, a couple of days later we're looking at 12.62, 12.61, and following some really rainy days, we're back down to the 12.54. We got down to 12.49 on day 20. And a quarter of an hour ago, I measured 12.5 volts pretty exactly, and we're now showing 12.52, occasionally 12.53, presumably as it warms up. One way to load up the batteries is to discharge and recharge the fire extinguisher. 50 litres at 100 pounds per square inch, which takes about 4 hours at 4.5 amps. Another way is to use this 240 volt 50 watt electric water pump filter, not entirely unlike that one there that blew up years ago, to suck 2.5 to 3 amps for maybe 8 hours while just pumping the water around through the filter and removing whatever plankton or algae or whatever it is that grows in there. But for the fun of it, today I thought it might be interesting if we tried some 300 watt power tools, old and new, which would probably be a pretty good test for the inverter as well. See if it can actually produce 300 watts. Notice as the volts drop, the amps increases. Lower the volts, the harder you suck. And now, with the changing of the plugs, introducing the old man's 1948 vintage Wolf electric drill. Oh, 10 amps at 11 volts. Amps drop. That will give the battery something to think about. Interesting to watch the battery voltage trying to recover. Plenty of capacity to deliver power at 10.83 volts. However, sadly, under the principle of thou shalt not put bad batteries in with good batteries, unless I can get these things to kind of dramatically improve, if I can get them to hold their above 12.6 volt morning resting voltage for say 5 consecutive days, then I will put them in. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to find some other use for them. You know, they might be good enough to run a light in the toilet, but they're not good enough to go over and join their mates in the pyramid, because they'll just basically suck the guts out of those ones in the pyramid because that's just how batteries go. Okay, another plug change. Back to the Jigsaw. Okay, so 2 minutes past 10, we off the inverter. It shows us we had maybe 0.1 of an amp error factor. The batteries are spontaneously, gradually recovering their composure. And I think I will put the inverter and the power tools away and then come back and see what they're looking like before connecting in the panels. And then we'll see how they respond after such a sudden drawdown in the current. Okay, so 5 minutes later, we're looking at 12.36 volts. So we connect the positive terminals to both of these panels, which are equally dappled in shade. That's the response to panel number 1. And we're looking at 0.3 of an amp, 12.55 volts, and it cranks it up to 12.82 or so. With the addition of only 0.1 of an amp. Okay, maybe 0.14. So yeah, 0.44, maybe 0.5 of an amp. Brought it up to 12.85, 86. And strangely, the battery voltage is going down as the current goes in. You get sort of rebound readings and false indications when the batteries have been sort of insulted by having a big load put on them and they're not used to it. If I had those tools running for 5 minutes, then we're looking at 4.5 amp hours. If they were running for 10 minutes, we'd be looking at 9 amp hours. And when the sun gets onto those two panels, I'll put out 2.1 amps between them, and in 2 to 4 hours of blue sky, the batteries should have recovered, and I'll unplug them at sundown and then have a look and see what they turn up with tomorrow morning. And so I guess this too has been a mad scientist video. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Ciao.